All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. This is episode number 44. We're happy you're here. Hope everybody's having a good day. Just got a little bit of disturbing news from our neighbor that I thought I would bring up. We got a text message from her saying, if you heard a blood-curdling scream a moment ago, it's because I just saw a big, I think she said it was beige or some color, like cream-colored snake right behind the house.
Wow.
It's snake season.
And the neighbors next to them just saw one last week.
And supposedly that was a 6-foot water moccasin.
So it's like a snake next 2 doors down, a snake next door.
They're moving this way.
That's it.
What are the chances that Buttons or Lacey could take down a snake?
I didn't tell you, but Shannon, one of our clients who also lives in like a country setting, gave me some advice on dogs encountering snakes.
All right, what do you got?
I mean, I don't know. I need to read it.
Refresh your memory, please. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to have to be out there swinging a machete at this thing. Hopefully it becomes a non-issue. Mm-hmm. Well, I have some exciting news. We actually picked up a sponsor for this week. We haven't had a sponsor in a while. Bit of a dry run on sponsorship. But
is it High Brew Coffee?
No, but that would be good.
Brewed in Austin, Texas.
That would be good. Hold that up. So
love it.
If anybody here works for High Brew Coffee, no, we're actually this is great. We picked up a sponsor after last week's episode. We are sponsored by Nestle Toll House Cookies. After all that cookie talk,
someone left a funny comment like "Big Cookie's gonna be very upset." That just cracked me up.
Yeah, we really rammed on cookies last week, and kind of got me.
It was the rolling example. I love cookies.
Yeah, we love cookies, but yeah, we scapegoated on cookies, and of course, I had some funny clients who shot a video eating cookies and sending it to, and they weren't even good cookies. They were Chips Ahoy. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. You're going to waste calories on Chips Ahoy? Give me a break.
That's funny.
If you're going to have a cookie, get a good cookie. Well, we're going to try something new today. We don't really have, well, we do have an official title for this, and it'll be kind of thing that pops up from time to time. We're going to call it You Go, I Go. So that just means Blakely's going to talk about something, then I'm going to talk about something.
Well, if you've ever been in one of my classes at a gym or seen me like some of my programming for like a buddy workout, I definitely didn't like coin this phrase, but it's like You Go, I Go style, which means like one person works at a time. You know, if it's like a 20-minute AMRAP, box jumps, running, it's like you do your set, I do my set, one person working at a time. So it's called You Go, I Go. So that's the theme of this.
Yeah, it's not that we're not going to interrupt each other. These just different things.
You're going to interrupt me plenty.
Different things we had on our mind that we wanted to talk about. Some from real life stuff that's going on with us, and some from things that we're dealing with clients, or just common things. So let's kick off You Go, I Go. Why don't you go first, and then I'll go.
Okay. That sounds good.
What you got?
So the first thing that I just thought it would be cool to talk about, because I hear this a lot, is not saying that you're old in conversation. Because I feel like just saying you're old leads to you feeling old, leads to like making an excuse that you can't do something because you're quote old. And I hear people in their like 20s say they're old, and like this, back when I used to own the gym, it was like I'd be like, I'm like 10 years older than you, and you are not old. Like, do not say you're old. So
it's true. It's a mindset.
It's a mindset thing. That's just something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, I remember when you owned the gym, we'd hear this all the time. Certain clients all the time. Oh, I'm so old.
I'm too old for that.
You start making those noises.
But I really think it comes down to the mindset about it. Like thinking that you're too old for something, thinking that you're too old to do something, go somewhere, try something, wear something. It just really leads you down a path of like, oh, I'm too old for that. And like, what does that do? I think it makes you old faster. Mm-hmm. I think it makes you feel old faster. I think if you kind of wipe that phrase out of your like conversation, I feel like you would not feel as old if you don't say, I feel old, or I'm too old.
And it's so true that if you ignore your age and you just go about your business of being the best version of yourself that you can, suddenly you stop feeling so old. Yeah. And as you get fitter and fitter, you look younger.
People think you're younger. You do things that people think people your age shouldn't do, but it's because you've never let yourself slip down that mentality of like, I'm too old to do a burpee box jump. that's a young man's game. Like, no, you can still do a burpee box jump. You're not too old for it.
Yeah.
And if you let yourself think you're too old, then just other things will slip in.
Yeah. You mentioned about dressing old. Like, so, I know I don't wear cargo shorts anymore. I feel like those were making me feel old.
Really?
Yeah. I got rid of all my cargo shorts.
I think that's more of like a style. That's like, maybe
style
like
for old
it was
guy.
like a 90s trend, and it was not an old man's dress. It was just like a...
Yeah. But like, here we are now,
25
years past the 90s.
Okay. If you were still... Well, that seems
You got to keep up, like you keep up with the trends. I mean, I'm a trendsetter as far as fashion goes.
Of course.
I mean,
with your backwards hat and your white T-shirt.
Look at this T-shirt. Mm-hmm. But I would just say, like you mentioned, like dressing. I'm not saying like do all your shopping at Urban Outfitters and wear whatever is on the mannequin.
Then you're actually wearing old clothes,
right? But like
it's from the 80s.
Dress in clothes that make you feel youthful and that you feel like you look good in. Like it just goes back to like taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all wrapped up in the same thing.
The dressing in older clothes confuses me, because if you were still wearing clothes from when it was the 90s, wouldn't you be dressing like you were younger?
You would be dressing like you did when you were younger, but that's out of fashion now. Okay. Fashion's changed, baby.
You've cleared it up.
Follow me for more fashion advice. So anyway, I think it's more important the mental side of it, and just like using the excuse that you're old and always saying that you're old. And it's like people don't even really believe that about themselves sometimes. It's just something you say. But what you say can become what you believe. So be careful what you say. It becomes how you feel.
Yeah, like what if like I was like, I think I want to learn how to ride the skateboard. But like, oh, I can't. I'm too old to learn how to ride the skateboard. I'm too old to skateboard. Like, it just might be something I never do. But like, what if I just didn't think like I'm too old for it and just started riding the skateboard?
Yeah. Is that why you bought a scooter last year?
I did get a scooter last year.
You did. People that follow our Instagram have seen you scooting around on that thing.
Yeah.
All right. My turn. All right. I go. I wanted to talk about just the idea of when you decide that you want to lose weight, to just start eating low calories. I think that like there's enough awareness around nutrition now. There are a lot of people know that calories matter, and they do matter, but there's this mindset of like, all right, I'm just going to attack the calories really hard. And then if I stop losing weight, I'm going to attack them even harder. I'm going to lower them even more. And that results usually in somebody falling off the plan altogether because it's not sustainable, or they get down to their goal weight, because usually people who are just going after calories are also just in the mindset of reaching a goal weight, and then they don't like the way that they look because all they did was lower calories. The smarter approach to this is to kind of eliminate that calorie cutting, slashing mindset and start to think about fueling yourself both for your performance and reaching your body composition changes at the same time. So what this means when we work with a client usually is keeping their calories as high as possible while we help them lose fat. So yes, we are paying attention to calories and making sure that they're in a calorie deficit, but we're not going so drastic that it's this thing that they can't sustain. The last thing that we want is to have somebody's body adapt to a low number of calories. Our metabolism is this amazingly adaptable thing. Like if you go down and start eating 1,000 calories per day and start losing weight, eventually you're going to hit a weight loss plateau. Your body's going to get really good at doing everything it needs to do with only that 1,000 calories that you're giving it. So we have to pay attention as we go and experiment with adding calories in and keep the metabolism cranking along, and that keeps you from hitting these plateaus. And should you get to a place where you stop losing weight, and we've been experimenting with adding these calories in a controlled manner along the way, then we're built up as far as how many calories we can tolerate. And then we really do have a place we can pull back from. The other benefit of not just going for this super low calorie approach is that you maintain the muscle mass that you have. And if you're new to this, you even have the potential to build muscle as you do this. So the recipe for pretty much ruining your body composition is, number one, going with a super aggressive calorie deficit, going on one of these like 3 shakes a day diets, and then not paying attention to any of your protein intake, not doing any kind of resistance training, and then just continuing to cut versus adding calories back in over time. So I just wanted to throw that out there because it's something that I see a lot as a common mindset, and I'm always battling against that mindset with clients. I do want to throw one more thing in about like the plateau thing, and maybe we'll do in a whole nother episode on weight loss plateaus. But if you are keeping track of your calories and you do hit a plateau, meaning like nothing is changing for like a month, I'm talking about your measurements, your photos, your performance, your weight, none of that. You're just stuck. Before you start lowering calories, start attacking things like your non-exercise activity, your, how many steps you're getting per day. Look at like how closely you're tracking things. Maybe you're just like missing some things throughout the day and it's adding up to enough to wipe you out of a calorie deficit. Can you push a little bit harder in your workouts? Maybe affect the energy output side of that a little bit. So I would play around with that stuff as much as you can before you go to lowering calories. Always use that as a last resort.
I think that's big coming from you because you're always, talking about how energy balance is king for weight loss. Calories
for sure.
in versus calories out. So I think that's very good advice.
It is. It is good advice.
It is a good advice.
Thank you.
Mic drop.
I went.
On that advice.
I went. Now you go.
Well, you kind of started to steal my next one when we were talking about the not saying you're old, because then my next kind of like thought on just like mindset in general was like dressing the part. And I've seen this a lot like in the gym, and now it's kind of cool to see in people's videos is like dressing the part. I'm not talking about like head to toe Lulu or head to toe Noble when you go work out.
You're talking about confidence,
but dressing in a confident way, not dressing in like slumpy clothes makes you feel slumpy.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about like, I want to be comfy on a Sunday and I'm gonna wear my sweatpants. Like that's a totally different topic. I'm talking about like you're about to go into your gym space and you're just throwing on a wrinkled t-shirt and some old shorts and you're going to go try to get after it in the gym and like feeling sluggish, feeling it's hard to start and all that stuff. And I think that it has a lot to do with like how you present yourself, even if you're the only person in there.
Absolutely.
Because I know I feel different if I wear different things in the gym. If I have something that like just I don't like, I like feel weird in it. You know? So I think that has a lot to do with your mindset when you're like in the gym and you're working out, whether you're by yourself or whether you're in a group and you're in a big gym, whatever it is. I think like trying to, dress the part. And like I said, I'm not talking about buying expensive clothing. I'm just talking about like
wearing something that you feel like you're confident and look good in. Like I definitely have t-shirts that I love the actual t-shirt, but for whatever reason, like doesn't fit me right. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident in it. And let's say like I wear that shirt to work out one day, despite those things, just because I like what it says on it or whatever. Like it affects the way that I feel like I perform, because I'm like, I don't feel good in this thing. I don't look good in this thing. And, it's just kind of a mindset thing.
I mean, it sounds kind of like vain to talk about out loud, but I think there's some truth to it.
It's not vain because you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to impress anybody else. You're doing it to make yourself feel good. And when you feel good, you're more likely to perform well. Yeah.
And I always thought it was so cool at the gym that when I would see people like change the way they dress as they just continue to get more confidence in themselves and in the gym. And I see it again reoccurring in people's videos, what they wear, and like they're in the same gym space and then they're wearing something different, and like the confidence that they just like exude is really cool to see the changes.
And just to clarify, like you already kind of said this, but we're not talking about going out and spending $120 on a pair of workout pants. We're talking about not picking up the dirty shirt off the floor and putting it on to go work out.
The price tag on the clothes doesn't matter, just as long as it's something like that makes you feel good and confident in yourself.
It's the same thing as if you wake up in the morning and you don't make your bed, and all day you walk back and forth through your bedroom and you see that unmade bed. It just brings like a sense of disorder and chaos that you could do without. Whereas if you took the 2 minutes when you woke up to make your bed and you have order and you feel confident in that, and every time you walk past it, there's this little victory. Yeah. So it's about adding up, those little things throughout the day.
Exactly.
So dress the part, even if you don't feel like it. All right. This was a little bit heavier topic than clothing. This came about from that Taylor Swift documentary that we were watching on Disney, where she sings her new album, and they kind of talk about the.
He's a closet Taylor Swift fan.
I'm not
even in
a closet fan. Just
Taylor Swift. He's a Taylor Swift fan.
Sorry, fellas, if y'all heard that, you respect me less. I'm okay with it. She's got a good voice. She's a good entertainer. All right, so they were talking about where some of these songs came to be, and
yes.
they brought up this example of somebody who's battling addiction. And, if somebody's battling addiction, like they're literally fighting this battle, like every moment of every day in their head, all by themselves. They want to relapse. They want to go back to what they were doing, and they have to actively fight against it all the time. And that's all going on inside themselves. Like nobody from the outside would know what's going on. And I think, a lot of what we do on a much less serious note or subject than that, with helping people with their exercise and nutrition, like, is that this stuff is not easy. Like, we're not there with you. Nobody is there with you, watching you make all the choices that you make. It's up to you in your own mind, battling against this stuff every day. And that's tough. And I want to acknowledge that it's tough. And whether you're dealing with, something as serious as addiction, or with an eating disorder, or depression, or anxiety, or the stuff that we help with as far as getting in shape, it's okay that it's hard. And I think it's okay to know, and helpful to recognize that it's hard to go through by yourself, and reach out for help, whether it's, a counselor or a therapist, or, somebody who specializes in the type of addiction that you have. And it's okay to admit that you need help, and it's okay that you feel like you're never going to get through it. Like, I can think back to a time where I don't know if I was clinically depressed or not, but I was definitely going through a really low point. You and I were having trouble in our relationship, and I was in a really bad place, like pretty much fighting off tears every moment of every day. And I remember sitting at a stoplight in my truck and looking over at the car next to me and seeing that person sitting at their steering wheel, and they just looked like they were just going about their life, singing whatever song was on the radio. And here I am, trying not to cry for no reason. And I just couldn't imagine a life where I was carefree enough to just care about what the song was on the radio versus all the stuff that was going on in my head. And I had to go talk to somebody about that to get through it. So I just want to reassure people that it's okay that you feel like you're not going to get through it, and it's okay to get help with that. And even though you can't see right now that you can be different on the other side, you can be.
Oh yeah.
So like I said, that's kind of a deep subject, but that her explaining that song just kind of made me think back to that time. And I just wanted to give people hope that it can be different.
Yeah.
So there's that.
There's that.
You go, I go. What you got?
This one, okay, so this came up because I had ordered something, and
yes.
Oh, yes.
I love this one.
The the shipment, you're like, okay, here's your expected shipment.
Tracking.
You're tracking. And it's like, due to COVID, this might not be the case. Like
You're
going to get it on Friday, but due to COVID, it might not be the case, And so I actually heard on another podcast somebody saying the way we go to the airport has completely changed. Like, an event happened over a decade ago, but like, we still take our shoes off. We still cannot bring a liquid on. There's all these things. And that just became like, we used to be able to like go take our family to the airport and wait with them at the gate. That's no longer a part of our life. And it just like became this thing. Somebody changed the rules, and like, now something that we're used to, and maybe it'll change again in the future. Maybe it'll get worse, who knows? But this thing about like the COVID excuse of like, your shipment will be delayed. I totally understand there are still things going on that they probably have to work around with. But I'm just thinking like that like disclaimer, how long will that be around in our life?
Maybe forever.
Like in like 5-10 years, are we still going to say like, due to COVID, your shipment might be delayed? Due to COVID, our hours may change. Like, due to COVID, like if you need us, we might not show up on time because we can use that excuse.
Longer than expected wait times.
Yes, due to COVID. Like, so it just made me think about like excuses in general, and just like, letting like one excuse in the door, and it just like, it kind of becomes a standard. It's like, it makes me think of like, okay, you're late to work once, and you're like, okay, I get at work at 8:00. I get there at 8:15. Like 8:15 slowly becomes that time you get to work now. Then you get start to get late again. Like now, you're creeping up. It's like 8:45 is the time I get to work now. Just things like that, like where you just let it in the door and that becomes your standard.
I think what we're talking about here is letting a once or twice valid excuse or reason for something become a habit or become the norm.
Right.
The accepted norm.
The accepted norm. And before you know it, that's your norm. And then, I can think of like 100 examples of, related to like fitness and nutrition stuff. Like just like thinking about like, you have a workout schedule and you take a vacation, you take a break, and like that break kind of creeps in and becomes your norm. And that like not working out is now your new norm. You stop off for fast food. You don't normally eat fast food, but we're super busy tonight. The family's super busy. And so I'm going to get fast food. And then slowly, like now, next thing you know, you look back and like we get fast food 3 times a week now. It's just like that slowly creeps in and becomes the norm.
Yeah. I have this conversation with people a lot surrounding nutrition. And it's like, I was busy, so this happened, whatever it is. And that's okay. I mean, we all get busy and we all have to sometimes change things around because we're busy. But it might be more helpful to look at what could we do in the future the next time we're busy, because chances are we're going to be busy again. Chances are there's going to be another weekend, another vacation, another whatever.
Right.
What can we do now to kind of break that cycle and keep the habits from changing, keeping our healthy habits in place?
Because there are valid things. Like there are valid reasons for work. There are valid reasons we can't work out. There are valid reasons to stop and pick up food versus make it. But it's just like allowing those habits to become like line up one after another, and before you know it, that becomes our normal. And like you said, like trying to like think through these things that we're now letting line up and become habits. Like should we be doing this or not? Yeah,
it's more often than not that people, they get a result because they changed their habits in a positive way. And then when they get a result and they lose it, it's because slowly over time their habits eroded back to what they were before. And it kind of happens in that exact way you're talking about. It happens once, we make an excuse, we forgive it, but then that we do it again the next time because it was easy in that moment. And then we do it again, and then before we know it, that's just our default behavior again.
Right.
And then whatever results we got, resort back to that.
Yeah.
So it's actively fighting that natural process of that happening. And when it does happen, actually taking a step back to evaluate, why did it happen and what can I do next time?
So back to the tracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. This came up because we got a new computer for the office. Like our computer's so old that like you can't even log onto a banking website because it's like your browser's out of date, and like it won't let you update the browser because everything's out of date. It's like
it's 11 years. It's 11 years old.
2009 or something. So anyway, it was time. So my computer was supposed to be here. Like I looked at the tracking and it's like, okay, it'll be here on Monday. And then it's like, okay, well, it'll be here Thursday. And then it just like stopped. It went from like where it was made to Kentucky on the 4th, and then it stopped. And so finally I contacted Apple and like someone stole the computer. And they were like, we're going to have to send you another one, make you another one and send you another one. Like,
they stole the computer because of COVID.
No, but that's just like, the whole tracking thing really made me aware of like, how long are we going to say like that? Here's your window of dates, but maybe due to COVID, it might not be there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it wasn't there because someone actually stole the computer.
Yeah.
Or it got lost, quote lost in shipment.
Got lost at somebody's house.
But today I was chatting with them, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, your new computer tracking number is, and we're sending you a new one. I'm like, oh shoot, they don't even know where this thing is.
Yeah. And you just
it's long gone. Yeah. Poor thing.
So that's how that train of thought went.
I wonder how long that happened. How often that happens. That's gotta be tough.
I don't know. Well, they sponsored a few podcasts, so we can probably call them up and see what's the deal with the stolen computers.
Oh gosh, that'd be rough.
All right. Okay. I'm probably going to really ramble on this one, so buckle up.
Can I go get a refill on my coffee
first? Yeah, bring me one too. All right, so this is about changing expectations, reframing expectations, goals, that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about reframing expectations and resetting goals to more consistency and process-oriented goals than just outcomes. Okay. We've definitely talked about this before, but maybe I'll say something new this time, but it just continues to come up. So, look, everything that we're trying to do here and anything in our life that we're trying to get better at the bottom line is behavior change. It's if one certain behavior gets us some result in our life and we want something different, the root of that change has to be a change in our behavior. And you know what? That's really hard to do. It turns out changing your behavior consistently is really hard to do. So what if we, instead of just saying things like, I want to lose 20 pounds, I want to get fit, what if we go to the root of the thing that is actually going to lead to that result, which is the behavior change, and we focus on that only and let the results just follow our behavior? Because, like I said, it is the behavior that makes us different. And then the result is just whatever happens because we consistently changed our behavior. Does that make sense? You tracking with me? But here's the thing with behavior change. I already said it's really hard. So when we decide to change behavior, we have to be a little more strategic with it than just saying, all right, I'm going to eat salad every day. I'm not going to eat cookies. We have to know that it's going to be hard going into it. And we have to start slowly for that reason. We have to set little micro goals that give us confidence and move us along, give us reward, and let us know that this behavior change is going to be possible. We're really good at behavior change in these short, intense bursts. Mm-hmm. I'm going to not drink alcohol for 30 days. I'm going to go paleo for 30 days. I've done both of those mm-hmm. things. But it was an outcome-oriented behavior. I didn't say, like, I'm going to avoid alcohol because it makes me feel better. I wake up more refreshed, and I know it aligns with the person that I want to be. That's a goal you can live with every day, and mm-hmm. that's a reason to not drink alcohol every day. Versus, I made it to the 30 days.
Let's go.
Now what?
Yeah.
So I said, I got kind of sidetracked there, but I started off saying that it's going to be hard. Know going into it that it's going to be hard. And just like anything in life, you're going to be pretty bad at it at first. And give yourself some grace, since we're focusing on the behavior change and not the outcome, to let yourself get better at it mm-hmm. over time.
Well, it also makes me think that it's more sustainable, like your alcohol example. Just giving up alcohol for 30 days, then day 31, you likely go back to alcohol. When if alcohol is something that you enjoy every once in a while, like that part of your lifestyle, it seems like it could be more of a sustainable lifestyle if you go about it the way you did. And you're like, I don't want to drink alcohol every day because I feel better when I wake up when I don't. But like, I'm going to allow myself on weekends or on occasions or times when it's, I want to enjoy alcohol if that's something that you enjoy. So it feels like, to me, that would be more sustainable.
Absolutely.
Than like, what if during that 30 days, there's like, some sort of major birthday bash situation and you have
have to
go there and you can't enjoy alcohol. But like, if you had this more flexible approach to it, you could, but then go back to
completely agree. And that's the thing that makes behavior change more palatable and easy for most people to mm-hmm. ultimately succeed in, is having that both the gradual approach and some flexibility
rather than hardcore restriction.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go off on this too long. Maybe we'll do another episode just about behavior change, maybe a whole series on behavior change because it's such a big topic. But I just want to encourage people that are still in that mindset of, I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds, or if I could only not eat sugar for 30 days, everything will be better. Mm-hmm. To let go of those goals, think about the behavior that might lead you to the same result that you want to have at the end of that, and focus on those behaviors consistently for the next 30, 60, 90, the rest of your life, and see what you can accomplish. And, invest in a plan and some accountability along the way. Tell somebody else what you're trying to do. Do some research on somebody who's accomplished what you've done before, and enlist some help and encouragement along the way.
It made me think of why hard sets work, because you get that gradual approach, gradual feedback. Mm-hmm. Like hard sets are doing something for a certain amount, like low to high reps, and then moving up in weight. And that's how we program for a lot of our clients and our programs. And I don't know, that you just made me think of it when you talked about that. Like, you start with 10 pounds. Once you can do 15 reps for three sets of 15 reps, then you're at 15 pounds, and you just get this, like, these little victories, whether it takes you one workout session to get to 15 pounds, whether it takes you 3 to 4 workout sessions, you still get that little victory along the way.
Yeah.
And it's a gradual process. And before you know it, I mean, we're working with some people that this has happened. Like, they look back and they're like, I'm using the 40s right now. And like, I started way down here and I never saw this coming. And I never would have been like, okay, in 6 months, I want to be using the 40s for this. That wouldn't have been a goal. They wouldn't have even thought they could, but it's just this like gradual approach.
Yeah. You're making me think of what we posted on Instagram today, those 2 videos of Christine.
Yes.
When Christine started a year ago, she was deadlifting a 15-pound dumbbell in each hand. So a year ago, was it even on her radar to say, like, to have an outcome-oriented goal, like, I want to deadlift 135 pounds?
No, we weren't even talking about using barbells. We were working on form. We were working on consistency. We were working on, just like
process-oriented things,
goals,
behaviors.
Yes.
And if her goal, which it was to train consistently and to change her lifestyle around health and fitness, well, guess what? She focused on those behaviors, and now she's deadlifting 135 pounds instead of 15 pounds in each hand.
Right.
That's how this thing really works and how it unlocks your true potential. So you go, Christine, if you listen to this. Was that mine or yours? I think
yours.
I'm out. I'm out
right.
of things.
All right.
All right. Anything else you want to bring up today? Any more stories you want to tell? We got like 30 minutes left if you want to tell us another story like last week.
I'm going to have a follow-up.
You're all good. All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of You Go, I Go. If you have any ideas for future episodes, or you want to leave us a comment, a rating, or a review on wherever you're listening to this, we would greatly appreciate it. That's the only way that more people find the show. So hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll catch you next episode.